Hey everyone, Mr. Messiah here. This is a lap guide for the new lap time challenge taking place at Dragon Trail Gardens with the Audi R8. To access this lap time challenge, going over to sport mode, so make sure you have menu book number 9 completed so you can be able to access this mode. Go ahead and click on the online time trials, which is towards the middle of the screen, and go ahead and click on this lap time challenge. So you have until the end of September 3rd, 2025 to try to get within the 3% time range of the world record time, as you'll be able to get the 2 million credits if you are in that gold time zone. Do be aware that these awards are given out when the lap time challenge ends. And we are on a fully stocked Audi R8 on the sports hard tires. Now here's a couple tips that I want to give out for this lap time challenge. With the Audi R8, you want to shift just after the shift bar on the bottom of the screen starts to blink. Don't let it blink too much because you will definitely hit the rev limiter. Another thing is to take advantage of the manual transmission. This car can get pretty understeery, so if you're able to downshift, like you manually downshift the car as you're entering these turns, you can get a little more rotation into the R8, which can help you get you better set up for the exit of the turn, get on the throttle just a little bit earlier, and shave off a little more time. Another thing, brake early with this car because it is really easy to end up overshooting a braking zone, and especially for this hairpin, it is really easy to brake just a little too late. You end up overshooting the hairpin and you lose quite a bit of time. And finally, be nice and patient getting on the throttle for most of these turns, because this car, again, it can get pretty understeery. If you get a little too aggressive getting back on the throttle, you do risk introducing a little too much understeer, so the car is just not going to turn and you'll end up finding yourself going off of the track. But other than that, let's go ahead and get started with the actual lap guide. So starting off with the lap guide, when you're getting ready for the new lap, you want to take advantage of the entire width of the final hairpin. So go down to second gear and bring yourself all the way to the outer edge of the track, then bring yourself on in, trying to get the car pointing towards the start finish line, and go ahead and get back on the throttle. And go ahead and shift up to third gear as you're exiting the final hairpin. Bring yourself towards the right side of the track, and your first braking point is before you reach the Dragon Trail sign that is on the right, which I have highlighted right here. Use all of your braking power for a short while and start to ease off of the brakes and turn in before the curb on the right end. So just about here, this is where you start to turn in and gradually start to ease off of the brakes. Go down to fourth gear, still easing off of the brakes, and just as you're about to pass the end of the final Michelin sign that is on the left, that is where you want to gradually get back on the throttle. And if you do it just right, you'll be able to take advantage of the entire width of the track. Bring yourself towards the right, brake before the 100 meter board. You're going to slow yourself down quite a bit for this first left turn because you want to set yourself up for the rest of the chicane, which is just up ahead. So use all of your braking power, turn in before you reach the 50 meter board, and you will go down to third gear. And as I mentioned earlier, you want to use the downshifts to your advantage because that will help the car rotate a bit better. So bring yourself towards the left, lift off of the throttle, and you can even use just a little bit of braking right here where the grass on the left ends. Go ahead and turn on in because you want to ride these sausages, as that will help you shave off a little bit of time. So quite a bit of throttle control that you will need to do to let this car rotate a bit better, getting yourself set up for the exit of the chicane, and go ahead and ride that sausage curb. Bring yourself towards the right side of the track, go to fifth gear, and just as the barrier on the right ends, that is where you want to start to brake. So use all of your braking power, and you want to gradually make your way down to second gear. So go down to fourth gear, down to third gear, and in a bit I'll be going down to second gear. And before the curb on the right ends, you want to start to turn in. So just around here, this is where you want to start to turn in. Go down to second gear, the car will rotate a bit better, and as you hit the apex, you can get on the throttle pretty early on, and you can get a nice little slide which can help the car rotate just a little bit better and get yourself a slightly better exit. lift off of throttle for that left kink, try to bring yourself towards the left, brake before the grass on the left ends, and you want to eventually make your way down to third gear. So using around 50% braking power, bring yourself towards the right and use the start of the barrier that is on the right as your next braking point. And here I like to use around 50% braking power and start to turn in right away. And if done just right, you can get a nice little slide out of the car, which can help the car point towards where you want to go next and get back on the throttle a bit earlier on. Then bring yourself towards the left just as you reach the bottom of this hill, so before the final sign on the left. That is where you start to brake. Use all of your braking power, use the sign on the left as your turning point, and make your way down to third gear, easing off of the brakes as you're turning in, so doing a bit of trail braking. Now you want to be really careful with your throttle inputs because this car can easily understeer off of the track if you get on the throttle a little too early and a little too aggressively. It's not going to be until around here, so before the track marshal on the left, where I start to fully accelerate my way out. So this is before the final corner. Yeah, before the final corner out of these series of corners where I start to fully accelerate my way out. It is possible to do it even earlier, but you have to set yourself up perfectly to pull it off. Now for the final hairpin, I'm braking right here, so before the 150 meter board. It is possible to brake just a hair bit later, but you do risk overshooting the braking zone. So go ahead and turn on in at the 50 meter board. Gradually make your way down to second gear to get a bit more rotation, but do exit the final hairpin on third gear. Be careful getting back on the throttle too early because you can still understeer off the track. Here I got really lucky. I timed it just perfectly to where I was able to just stay within the track limits. And with this, I was able to get a 143.679. We'll go through this again, but this time I'm not going to stop the video. And let's go ahead and take it from the very beginning. So getting myself set up for the lap, so I take advantage of the entire width of the track, up on second gear, exit the hairpin on third gear, take advantage of the entire width of the track. Gonna go ahead and stay on the right side of the track, going up to fourth gear. I think I do go up to fifth gear. There we go. Brake before the sign on the right, down to fourth gear. A little bit of trail braking so I can still maintain the ability to turn while I'm slowing down. Then brake before the 100 meter board. So I'm braking pretty early for these turns because the brakes on the Audi, they're not the best. Nice and careful getting back on the throttle. A little bit of throttle control as I ride the sausages. Got to be really careful with riding those sausages. You don't want to hit them with the wheels because that can really upset the car. So go ahead and bring yourself towards the right side of the track, braking just after the 200 meter board. So where the barrier on the right ends, down to second gear. You can get aggressive on the apex right here, get back on the throttle, get a cute little slide which can actually help the car turn in a little bit more to close out that turn. A little bit of throttle control, brake before the grass on the left ends, down to third gear, brake when the barrier on the right starts, 50% braking power, get a cute little slide which can help the car rotate just a little bit better. Then brake as you reach the bottom of the hill, down to third gear. Just being really careful with your braking and throttle inputs. You do not want to understeer off of the track over here, especially as you've made it so far through this lap. Bring yourself towards the right side of the track. Gonna brake before the 150 meter board. Gradually make your way down to second gear. Turn in as you reach the 50 meter board. Down to second gear for more rotation. Exit on third gear. Be really careful getting back on the throttle so you don't end up on the grass and turn into John Deere. And once again, with this, I was able to get a 143.679. So hopefully this lap guide helps you out, and if it does help you out, feel free to hit the like and subscribe button. But that's all for me. This is Mr. Messier, the world's most okay player, and I'll see you in the next video.